preparing, optimizing PDF print, and the great aim to shut up the alarm for online printers. That's the target about this speech. I want to have a short overview about the current situation and its problems, why prepare, which standard, just a short trip into this direction, and how to solve the most common problems, and what about the rest. Intentionally used the word rest, which uses also a word for rubbish, which most customers have also and users have in their workflow. Just a short overview from me. Printers, proofwriters, or PDF-A customers? How is the audience? PDF-A? No. Preflight? Other things? And the rest. Okay. Sorry. Not rest. Yeah. The remaining ones. Sorry. Okay. I put together some situational questions. From a view of online printer, you have a web portal somewhere on the web, and customers are uploading things. How should they care about what things do they find on the internet shop pages? They see, no, please upload PDF X1, X3, X4, X5, whatever. The recommendations say, hey, use the industry what? There are a lot of internal recommendations to companies. And for a simple customer, they get totally lost when there are some special needs for maybe some kind of banners and all that stuff, where they printers request, hey, I need this, I need that, I need this minimum text size, I need lines with a minimum size, this thickness, and so on. And when I order this product at one printer, they request other things from me than the printer I used before, and so on. The requirements depend on each product. I cannot build my PDFs in the resolution the printer wants, and all other things. And most customers, to be honest, don't have the money for using professional tools like InDesign. They produce the products with Word, with Excel, with PowerPoint or whatever. So the customers are a little bit lost in that situation. On the other hand, we have the situation for printers. To be honest, also they are a little bit lost of all the different file formats they have to handle, because my other players in the market offering acceptance of Office products, Office files. As a printer, I get a great spread of quality of the content which I have to print. On the other hand, I have on the production side also was responsible for production on the printing company. You have such a lot of machines, all have different requirements for quality, depending on our offset, it's on the other offset machine, it's printed on digital wherever. I have, like I wrote here, great variety of products I have to produce, requirements of the data to vary, have that be a cut line or whatever. I have also problems, especially with uploaded PDFs, with fonts, transparency, and all that stuff. I have no bleed on these PDFs. I have bad image resolution, wrong page sizes, wrong orientations, and I got a lot of mixed files into it. So I visited also a lot of websites, web shops, and I saw all these perfect sheets, how shall files which so customers have to upload, how should they be defined? Which content there, how shall the customer make the content? Most of the customers get lost in that situation. They could use professional tools for the design and writing the data as a PDF, not only using Word for writing them as a PDF. It's not printable, not really, not good. They could do a prefab, converting it to a standard, or simply not converting it to a standard, it's just doing a prefab, listing all the problems there. Like I said, they could read or respect the requirements of the printer, check the data for problematic content. As a view from a printer, this would solve so much problems. They would have to regard things. Office, like I said several times before, is not a publishing software. Text and images, text-based images look ugly when printed. They could use a tool for preflight, which the online printer implemented, which produces nice reports, but most customers get lost when they're reading it. They, like I said, convert it to a standard using our tools or Acrobat or whatever. But the customer would say, why should I? When you requested online printer A, I go to online printer B, they don't have so much report stuff on the page, and they print it anyway. Of course, the customer should know when they would do this, would ensure the print result is the same as on screen. As we all know, RGB would do it. It's not printed in RGB images and so on. There will be a color shift. When the customer would supply good or better PDFs, there would be an increased possibility that there will be no delay in delivery of the finished products. They would provide, especially semi-professional area where you have all these professional graphic designers which supply PDFs which are not professional anyhow. They would avoid many costs or time for correcting all these buggy and not so nice PDFs. And also, I had several cases where the designer did stupid things, got printed, and the designer had to pay it afterwards. But that the customer would do all this and respect the requirements of the printer and do all the pre-flight, that's, in my point of view, the likelihood that the customer, I have to say, will do that. Unfortunately. It's a big aim, but especially in the online printing industry, the target of most customers we have and people I spoke with is we have to print it anyhow in the best quality we can get. And we cannot request better quality of the customers, but today more and more customers getting überfordert. They will not cover the needs we have. So how to keep it running? What have I to do as an online printer? That's maybe something not new, but it's quite a good point to go back to to keep it in mind. Knowledge of your process is the key. As a printer, or even when you have some workflow management, or even when you are in a company which produces a lot of printed and other contents, you should know your processes. What do we, in which way, where do the files go, where do we do which correction, where do we have some other points. At the printer, we said, like maybe someone was in the presentation of Damiano just before mine, in the Matana style, they said, defragmentize all your steps. Like I said, group your checks and corrections. Sort them, like make them into groups for your products. Group them and put them into the structure of the prefab work. Different requirements of different output devices. So also know your processes. How it's produced in your printer. We have several from support where I'm also working a lot with color software. We have so much problems, but our customer says, depending on which rib I use, okay, it's totally different outputs. This rib has problems with Postgres 1 fonts, this has problems with prefab fonts, and if there are some other constellations from such a writer, like whatever, Photoshop or so, when they write a PDF, I have problems. I have simply problems on different output devices. One is printing it, one is printing it out. So also their knowledge is the key. Using the right order for corrections. Also, I think that if you have when you make different corrections on a file, do it in the right order. And maybe what doing with, and again use the word rest, but doing with the jobs which fail through any prooflight, okay, which I cannot give back to the customer because I'm an online printer. And I say, Susan, Sunday, I cannot print your PDF. She said, I cannot do it in another way. I just set it in Word or wherever. It's my birthday card. I want to have it printed. Please help me. So, like I said, repositories, group them, think about it, what you will need for checks, what you need for color conversion for your different machines, or do corrections depending on, like I wrote there, depending on the printing method for a digital machine for the one, digital and the other Xerox machine, which maybe needs other corrections to be able to print the perfect output. And maybe you have also, for your bigger company, different standard levels for different channels. Like I said, prepare them with prefab products. So a lot of customers are just was as a printer in southern Germany. Yeah, PDFX, we are thinking about that. PDFX is 12 years old, 10 years old, 13 years old. They are just thinking about it. I think I was a little bit wondering because, sorry, it's X4 now, which we also recommend because I also told them don't use PDFX1A. It's based on flattened content, which where maybe all fonts are getting lost, and you have such modern output devices, and so please use PDFX4 as a basic for the input files. You have a faster PDF creation in the files. You produce it on their own in some parts. You have smaller PDFs. I listed some other points. They're lower complexity. You have faster processing of the PDFs normally in your output devices or webs. You don't have the need for transparency flattening, which I already said, that you have no fragmentation into lots of small objects. What Leonard showed it yesterday with the small lines in Acrobat. Customers will become crazy when you send them such a preview PDF which write lines inside. They will call you within 5 minutes. Hey, there are white lines, and they are not so experienced. Also, like I said, no conversion of text. Smooth shades to mains, vectors, stay vectors, and all that. Like also X4, no early semi-optimal, no color conversion, no artifacts with like the white lines I said. Better possibility for modifications. You can still make something in these PDFs, and easier to change for different output types. So there are much more interesting things about this PDF X4, but when you look in it and have some experience, you say that it doesn't cover my needs. Yes. All these standards will not solve all your problems, but there's the first step for you to adjust things. In PDF X4, a lot of things are missing. Resolution of images. This standard doesn't care about it. Also hairlines, black text lines in 4C. So when you have some variable in printing, it will become not so nice printed. And other text, small text. When you maybe print it digitally, you will have problems printing small text. Objects near to edges. All these standards doesn't care about, but for you as a printer or in the workflow, you have to take care about it. And also when you make a digital print, ink coverage, all that stuff is not included. So, I will skip this and come back to it later. So, the way what we suggest to customers when we do trainings, which also our partners does and the customers, just use these standard profiles to prepare your files with these standard profiles, but adjust them. Use the predefined ones like we have in Toolbox, screenshot there, or in Acrobat Pro, where we also have the pre-flight component built. A lot of problems will solve by the standard converting to these standards. And add, enrich them, I would like to say, with additional corrections from industry recommendations. Don't start at a white piece of paper. There are so much nice inputs, like from the PDF workbook GWG, which had made a lot of interesting ideas and corrections and additional checks also to the PDF X1 or X4 standard with newer GWG 2012 specification, where they have added a lot of interesting checks to it for thin lines, for text, for all that the problems which can occur in printing. And of course the PDF X Ready. I just ask Stefan, who's attending here, when there will be an English version of this great guide for printers.
The guide is ready, the only thing missing is the English pages.
Oh.
Everything else is there. Pre-flight profiles, the recipes, the guidelines.
Yeah. It's a great guide for...
CMS is sucks so much that all the time I start translating, I give up and do something else.
Yeah. So there are great ideas and great recommendations out there to adjust all your files so that the target will be, what I always like to say is, normalize your input. You have a great variety of input files. Also in companies, when you have a centralized point where you give jobs to a printer or to a platform or to a variety of printers. The aim should be, just surfed a little bit and Googled for these kinds of company recommendations, where there was I think 30 pages from Siemens, which have a well-built recommendation how they do the normalization of their files. Made some specification for all their companies they own, and how they say how files to be printed have to be some kind of normalized, so that it produces one normalized PDF for all incoming files, which has some kind of common structure which fits on a high, on a low level, not on a high level, fits on a low level all the needs of the different output channels, of the different printing ways, and use this then for individual adjustments to the output channel or for the product which shall be printed. So the target is always to adjust the prefab and conversions to your needs, which fits most of the requirements of the system, or all the requirements of the system. So just building your, I said, my PDF there, so your PDF. Okay, a lot of theoretical stuff, use specifications, use standards, all that stuff. But this is also a vendor session. How can we, as callas with our products, may help you to make it also when you're a producer of PDFs and to deliver them to printers and so on, how to make the best of the input or deliver the best to the printer. Common problems again are files made of Office applications. Images in Office PDFs are always RGB, and all the other content in the same way, because RGB looks most nice on screens, and so they are written in RGB but cannot be printed, have to be converted. So the result is a disappointment for the customers, because they look different when printed, when you have a photo book of your last occasions, and all the images can look not so nice like on your camera. So we had this issue from an online printer. They had the requirement, I want to have a one-step solution for color conversion. And I got a lot of input files, especially from Office documents, made of Office documents, and they have to be handled different from other PDFs I got. From InDesign, which is fine. No, I don't have to care so much for these files, but I have to take care of all these OpenOffice, Microsoft Office files. But I don't have it in a single step in my workflow. And also some different handling of products which contain spot colors. So what we added here is just grab it. So we made some kind of analysis that Office files shall be converted separately to CMYK. And this is done using a device link profile, which is included in our products, which is based on a FOGRA recommendation. German or Central European users will know the FOGRA as a Forschungsgemeinschaft Grafisches Gewerbe or Grafische Industrie, which is a well-reputed German institute for printing technology, who built a special device link-based color conversion, which is especially optimized for RGB from Office to CMYK. So hopefully you can see it a little bit. You have much more details, much more contrast when these files are prepared with these device link profiles, which are freely included in our products. So the colors tend to be more bright when printed afterwards. So I have the normal conversion on the left side and the much more powerful device link conversion on the right side, which is a nice sample, for example. Another, I cannot go into the details. Feel free to contact me when you want to have for example, the profiles or the concrete or the explicit sample for the issues I show here. Get all files to the same size and avoid gaps in the printed results. Also, it's also a requirement from an online printer. They have their input channels for the different products, and they don't have all the same size. They vary, some millimeters, which makes a lot of problems when printed. Flyers, 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters, not wide enough, not high enough. But they have the same issue. They get all the files into one queue. Professionals, semi-professionals from Word, whatever. So they figured out how will we handle it, how will we divide it if it's come from a professional source or from Office. They said if a document contains a trim box, it's normally contained by a person who knows a bit more. So they said, okay, when a document has a trim box, we scale it in a different way. If no trim box exists, downscaling allowed in a small tolerance only. If a trim box exists, you can simply scroll it without any limit. And also in this step, add bleed, so that you have no white border around it, if objects near inside to the page. They plan to set it up in a workflow system. I have here a screenshot from InFocus Switch, which looks, as you see, a little bit complicated. So when there's a trim box, go there, and so on and so on. And we adapted this for in a so-called process plan, which looks a little bit, in another way structured. And the nice thing here is we have only two variables. We have the target, and we have the target with tolerance. So we have also in this solution one step within the workflow of the customer, where they can use the same profile, the same process step for several products, because they have smaller flyers, PFA6, PFA4, whatever, and they have to simply trigger for the different cues the size into that profile, which is used for fix-ups and checks, and the result will be scaled automatically depending on the size to the target product. Yeah, one set for multiple things. And what's also a nice feature in PDF Toolbox is adding bleed from content, which has also become quite popular for a lot of printers. That's a common problem on the left side, upper left, where you can see the trim box and there's nearly no bleed all around it. So you will have some problems when it's got printed. Where we have also the function to add bleed from the content. So we make an image and mirror it to the outside. So you got enough bleed from the content, so you have no white edges when it's printed out. Another problem which can easily be solved with PDF Toolbox is showing customers the expected results, especially when printed, how the printed product will look like. Like I said before, problems, it looks always a little bit different on a screen than when it's printed afterwards. So also problem which can be solved with PDF Toolbox, showing the customers the expected results, which can also be easily be solved with PDF Toolbox. The created, corrected, and altered geometry boxes, which hopefully a little bit seen there, imposed if needed, and simulation profile applied to the output, which is then shown into a web shop interface, so the customers see, okay, when I use maybe printing on newspaper paper, it's a little bit more, lose a lot of its brilliance and so on, so that you can add there. Another feature we have, for example, in PDF Toolbox, which is also a nice thing for not only for online prints, but also for a lot of other issues, is simply a sharpening of images. So you have all the problems, which you also know when we use a digital camera, that you have blurred, so it's a little bit unsharp images. So we added also in fix-up the correction, which sharpens the image, which increases the contrast. I think you can see it quite nice and misty image on the right bottom there, that it's becomes much more detailed, and so it will also look much more nicer when printed. It's also a correction which has become frequently used by a lot of our customers in the online printing and then photo book market to simply increase the quality of the printed images for print. So, all achievement did not work. So much problems, so much pre-flight hits on the files. What can be done? I asked some of our customers, what do you do? And they said, don't want to tell you. It's not the nicest way because it's a little bit risky. So it depends. They said, not for every product, but depending on the customer we use it and the product we are using. And there are two, risky but final solutions to get things printed which has so much problems inside. This should not be the normal way to produce PDF for print, but solves a lot of problems. This first or second step depends on your feelings. Is simply perform a register. What is a register? It's also a solution which writes the PDF completely new by using PostScript. You also know this. Olaf also very well from his history. So simply, the register writes the PDF to a PostScript level 3. So, and the PostScript level 3 doesn't support so much features like PDF. So a lot of things will simply stay there, but it's not supported in PostScript, and so will be lost. All the transparency issues. And a lot of other things will simply be brushed out of the file when it's written to the PostScript, and then when it's written back to the PDF. A lot of problems, I listed some common problems there, damaged incomplete fonts or images, or syntactical inconsistency in the PDF structure will be solved by this problem we are using. This also in the PDFA context to solve a lot of font problems which can simply not be solved so easily with this feature. Another popular, much more popular workaround for especially for online printers and output things is simply make an image of it. I said, all of the people who said that we are making an image of it, but don't tell anybody. It's but it's work. It's simply the quality is nice. They're simply using the tools for rendering all the pages into images. And resolution which is acceptable for the kind of output, 300 ppi or more, whatever. Especially in today where the size of files doesn't matter anyhow. Doesn't care if the file is 10 megabyte or 200, doesn't care. It's deleted after printing anyhow, but I got it printed. Especially with the tools, you can only convert pages into images which contains problems, for example. Only these pages will be converted then. And if you want to use these pages afterwards for any other type of visual or other usage, there can be even a combination of the creation of invisible text copy for it. So the procedure there is that we make an image of the content, replacing the page, and putting some invisible text copy also in this page, so at the same position where formerly text was, it can simply be copied out afterwards, so that only when you zoom into the PDF you will see that also the text is a little bit rasterized, but normally when it's printed out it's nothing problematic. So this was my short overview and a little bit in time for the problems which occurred in the support queue and was frequently asked from customers, from online printers, and some of them, a lot of them can be solved by using the toolbox. Some of them I showed here. And if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to come with your individual problems and needs and ideas, and maybe workarounds to how you get your workflow in your company or wherever you're done.
So I had one question. Can we talk about the RGB CMYK profile on the cover recommendation? That's the one from the PSD?
I guess so. Is it PS?
I think it's the content. No, that's not, I don't think it's PC. Fogler did a research project and they researched a couple of ways how to go from Office RGB to print CMYK, and that would by default mean sheet fed coded.
Yeah.
And not necessarily digital in any way. And that they used all the tools and what have you. They came up with the idea that you probably get the best average result by using the device link.
Yeah.
And they tweaked it in some ways, as you can do with device link profiles, so that black objects tend to use mostly black, and then a mix of the white colors. But still you get as much saturation and brilliance as you can keep without sacrificing other aspects. I think they went through a couple of rounds of experimentation, and then they were nice enough to publish the results, so to speak, to be used by other software vendors.
I must have missed that one.
So it's,
So is it in the regular toolbox or in the device link?
No, it's not a regular toolbox. You can stand your own installer.
that's also another frequent misunderstanding. So speaking of device link profiles, PDF Toolbox in its normal version can always use device link profiles. It's only if you don't have any device link profiles and you need some, and you find that the device link profiles that we offer are useful for your workflow, you will have to purchase the device link add-on package. But if you already have a device link profile, or in this case, because it comes already with PDF Toolbox, you just run the normal toolbox.
A lot of customers are using these also from a lot of print manufacturers with such device link profiles for when you buy a machine, so you can simply use it in PDF Toolbox for the color adjustment to your printer without any additional license fee, because you're getting these kind of device link profiles. Which is normally CMYK to CMYK or within one color space. So you get it for free and can use it with PDF tools. Any more questions? No?